What's up, my 2 subscribers? What's up, y'all? I got 2 subscribers now. Woo! Thank you 2 so much for being here. Give yourself an extra high five today. I know you already gave one to yourself. Just do it again. Do it 10 more times. Do it for one for every finger. Thank you, and to everyone else who clicked on this video, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for so much support on the last video. YouTube can be kind of nerve-wracking to me. It makes me nervous to make these videos, and to see that I had decent amount of views for somebody that had nothing beforehand. Thank you all so much. I really do feel the love, and I'm very appreciative of all the support that y'all are giving me. So thank you all so much. I'm so glad I can be doing that. Anyways, thank you all so much for being here. My name is Austin, and this is the Austin de Tejas channel, where we talk about music, writing, visual arts, and everything under the radar when it comes to the arts. Now today we're going to be talking a little bit about art mediums, and that is the medium in which an artist conveys their message. There are a lot of art mediums out there, that including paper mache, figurines, bingo cards, postage stamps, macaroni art, creating a game, movies, photography, Legos, light sculptures. Did I say stamps? But today we're kind of just going to be talking about the main 3 that you kind of see everywhere, that being writing, music, and visual arts. So what we're mainly going to be talking about, though, is the title of the video, and that being which one of those 3 gets your message across the best. I have a ranking system, about 4 criteria, and I'm going to go through all of them. The first criteria is going to be how quickly do you get the message based off your first impression. The way I'm going to be doing this is basically number 1, number 2, number 3, easy as that. And music takes number 1. It might sometimes be like an underhand thing, but they're basically telling you the message with their words, with their mouths, you know. It's easy to say red is red and blue is blue. I love me and I love you. And you know that that person loves you. I would definitely say the number 2 spot is visual arts. That being because you can generally get what you're trying to say upon first impression, but sometimes it's not always it, though. It's the same thing for all of them, but I would definitely say more so with visual arts. And also, there are a lot of really small and tiny details that can go into a painting or a drawing, something like that. Taking the number 3 spot down at the way bottom, I would put it at number 12 if I could, but there's only 3. I would definitely say that number 3 would be writing. Upon first impression, you don't necessarily know what the author is saying until midpoint to the end of their excerpt. Of course, there are those stories where it's like those 2-sentence horror stories where it can fill you with dread, fear, what is life, that sort of existentialism sort of thing.
I thought I was alone in my house. That is until I saw that sinister smile in the corner of my room.
But I would definitely say that visual arts and music would be a little bit easier to comprehend the message of the artist. Now we're moving on to the second category, and that is what is the most popular in this glorious year of 2020. And I would definitely give the number 1 spot to visual arts. Visual arts, everybody is doing visual arts these days, and we've all been doing visual arts since we've been in elementary school. Hell, even I do visual arts. Look here. Got David Bowie. I tried to draw Prince right there, but that didn't work out. There's a dog. It's cute. So I would definitely say that visual arts is the most popular thing that you can do in 2020 right now, and you can definitely look at it, get a message across, and people will know what you're talking about. Now, number 2 would definitely, and it's a close number 2, would definitely be music. Okay, here's visual arts. There's music. But number 2 is still music, just because people are more inclined to do visual arts than they are to do music. Now, number 3, but I guess you guessed it, writing, right? I don't know that many people that are, like, doing a lot of reading these days, unfortunately. There are snippets on Snapchat that you can read, scroll through. You can always go on Vanity Fair for your website, stuff like that. People are always picking up the latest issue of Time magazine, you know, stuff like that. But other than that, I don't think that a lot of people are reading these days. It's very time consuming, and that's one thing that people don't have these days is time, unfortunately. So the third category is what is most accessible around the world. It's if you can only limit your message to a certain geographical location, I'd say that you'd probably want to do more of something that everybody can get and everybody can understand, sort of thing. So number 1, it's a big W for me, is writing. Writing is something that has been translated and transcended borders for ages, for centuries. Writing has been able to go from nation to nation, translated, and people can generally still know what they're saying. If anything, if there's like a certain American euphemism that would not go along the same way in like Russia, they could probably sub that in for one that, you know, is more relatable to Russia. And that's another reason why I like writing so much, is just because it is something that transcends borders and something that everybody can get. Number 2 would have to be visual arts. It would have to be visual arts because it's looking at something. You can look at something and appreciate beauty. You can look at something and be intrigued by the details of that painting. You can look at it and say, wow, this is really beautiful. This is nice. Who did this? And number 3 would be music, just because I think it's one of those ones where it's a little bit more intricate when it comes into translations. Like, rhymes don't always go across borders. The way that it's translated, if you were to translate an American English song into Spanish, the syllables aren't always there, and it could definitely throw a beat off. And the 4th category is, what can you get the most out of for the least amount of effort? Especially when it comes to getting your message across. If you're in a bind, if you're in a pinch, then you need to create something quick because you need to get this off your chest. What can you do to basically get your message out and, you know, people would know exactly what you're saying? I think what takes the number 1 spot would definitely be visual art. And the biggest reason why is memes. No, not really. I think that if you can draw a stick figure, you could draw it by like a miniature fire and it's just log and flame, then you kind of know exactly, you get your message across. There's some people sitting by a campfire. There's a reason that people use visual arts in protest. There's a reason that cave people did cave drawings. Simple to do, and you know that that squad is hunting a buffalo. It is something that you can kind of put a minimal effort in and still definitely get your point across. The number 2 spot is definitely going to have to be music. It's something that you have to put a decent amount of effort into if you want to make it sound good and get your message across. I know that you have to produce it, you have to think of the beats in the first place, you have to think of the lyrics, you have to coordinate with other people to make sure that you all are on the same time, that you all know exactly what chords, what strings you're going to pick, everything like that. It does take a lot of effort. Like, how do you do it? Hours upon hours in the studio just trying to get what you're trying to say perfect. And I applaud you for that. There's only 1 spot left, and that's writing. It's a sad thing for me because I definitely want to be a professional writer one day, and there is so much effort that goes into writing. You're making sure that you have the correct literary elements, that what you say has meaning behind it, that it feels real, that you can connect with a person that's not even real, that's imaginary. You have to be able to get to somebody and have them say, oh yeah, I know that dude. I know Harry Potter. I know Sleeping Beauty. It's just an insane amount of effort, and the entire premise of your story can just be, war is bad. So I recently started reading The Shining by Stephen King, and from what I've read and from what I've seen, because I've seen the movie and I've read a lot of reviews about it, the movie itself is not all that great of an adaptation from what he's trying to say. Jack isn't really the way that Jack is. Danny cusses a little bit more. He's a little bit of a bad mouth. And Wendy, she's Wendy. But like I said, from what I've read and from what I've seen, the Overlook Hotel itself is representative of Stephen King's alcohol problem and his drug problem, and that he would go like into the Overlook Hotel, Jack Torrance would, and would just keep seeing the temptation there, and he knew that it would like ultimately, well, Stephen King knew that it would ultimately take his life, and it manifests itself with Jack Torrance by the end of the book. But this book is 660 pages long, and the main theme around it is the drug and alcohol problem, and that's a lot of pages to kind of emphasize that issue, and that's a few issues. There's a few issues in there, but that's the main issue, and that's a lot of pages just to talk about it. So now we have the final score. So the way that I gave scores to these 3 art mediums was, first is 3 points, second is 2 points, one is 1 point. So from what it seems, if you watch the whole video, that just means writing's number one, baby. I'm gonna be the best writer in the world. No, really. It's visual arts with 10 points being number one, music being second place with 8 points, and writing, it's 6 points. So it definitely seemed that the most popular way to get your message across at first glance, that's accessible to the most amount of people in the world, for the least amount of effort, would be to do visual arts. But hey, at the end of the day, you're going to do what you want to do, and that means you can do visual arts, you can do your writing, you can do your music, you can do whatever you want to do. This is art world, and you're in control of it. Thank you all so much for clicking on the video, watching it the whole way through, and thank you all so much for your support. I am definitely looking forward to seeing you on the next video. The next video I'm going to do has to do with music, and some of the little similarities I've been seeing with modern music and some of the older stuff. So hope you're ready for that one. Thank you all so much for being here. My name's Austin, and peace.